So now, if you recall the last time we were at this rehearsal for this play, this girl's mama who's running the play, she decides to tell us all about these people that are in it. And she tells us that they had to go put the baby Jesus in a barn. Come on now, baby Jesus. I mean, I don't know a lot about the Bible, but I can just kind of get the feeling that baby Jesus shouldn't be in a barn, nor in a feed trough, whatever that was. So then she starts talking about something about swaddling clothes and all that. And then she starts saying that something about wise men were coming. We didn't even know what wise men were. I mean, come on now, look at us. Do you think we know what wise men are? All right. So this mom, she decides to tell us about these wise men. And then she says, now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, this mom kept on reading, the one who's running everything. Behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. Shoo, Leroy, Ralph had said, and Claude and Ollie, so pay attention. What does it mean, wise men? That's what Ollie wanted to know. None of us knew. So he says, were they like school teachers? No, dumbbell, Claude has said to him. They were like the President of the United States. So at least we were right about one thing, because this lady running the show, she was a little bit happy. She said they were much like the kings and queens and stuff like that. Well, me, Emma Jean, I said it was about time, because maybe they'll tell that innkeeper where to get off at, and then they'll get the baby out of the barn. That makes sense to me. So she keeps on with the story. They saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him, and presented unto him with gold, frankincense, and myrrh. What is that? Leroy had said. Precious oils, this woman had said, and fragrant resins. I was like, oh, what kind of cheap gift is that? Oh, who needs oil? What kind of king hands that out for a present? Oh my goodness, you get better presents from the firemen, because sometimes the firemen would bring us presents, like these firemen parties that they have at Christmas time, but we always knew that Santa Claus was digging around in the bag and hiding the good stuff, like the bows and arrows and dart guns, junk like that. We knew that's what he was doing. So I normally got like sewing cards and jigsaw puzzles, but that was a lot better than I can tell you that. So now we're over at King Herod. So we had never heard of King Herod. We had never heard of half this stuff that this lady's talking about. So she had to explain all this to us too. So we found out that it was Herod who sent the wise men out to find the baby Jesus. I wanted to know, was it him who sent out those crummy presents, them oils and frankincense and myrrh, whatever that is? And this lady says that it was something worse, that King Herod wanted to go have baby Jesus killed. I was like, my God, he just got born and they're already out to kill him? I mean, come on now. I wanted to know everything there was to know about the Hermans. Even my brothers and sister wanted to know, what did he look like? Just how rich was this guy? And what wars did he fight in with people? I mean, really. Claude had thought, well, maybe he was the main king. If he could do that, then maybe the other three could just do whatever he told them to do. Well, if I was king, Leroy decided to butt in. I wouldn't let some other king push me around. Well, yeah, you would if he was the main king. So that's what Claude was saying. So Leroy then pipes up again and says, well, you know what? I'd go out and be king somewhere else. We were really interested in Herod. I mean, really, just who was this guy? Well, it was obvious that these herdmans were very interested in Herod. And I figured they liked him. After all, he was so mean he could have been their ancestor, Herod Herdman. But I was wrong. Who's going to be Herod in the play? Leroy had asked. We don't show a Herod in our pageant, Mother had said. That's when they all got mad. They wanted somebody to be Herod so they could go out and beat him up. I couldn't understand the Herdmans. You would have thought that the Christmas story came right out of the FBI files. They got so involved in it, they wanted a bloody end to Herod, worried about Mary having her baby in the barn, and called the wise men a bunch of dirty spies. And then they left the first rehearsal arguing about whether Joseph should have set fire to the whole inn or just chased the innkeeper all the way out into the next county. So that was chapter 4. So now we're at chapter 5. When we got home, my daddy wanted to hear all about it. Well, Mother had said, Just suppose that you had never heard this Christmas story before and didn't know anything about it, and then somebody told it to you. Just what would you think? My father looked at her for a minute or two and then said, well, I guess I would think it was pretty disgraceful that Mary was out there and a pregnant woman having a baby in a barn. I was amazed. It was perfectly disgraceful, and I never thought about it much. You hear all about the nice warm stable with all the animals breathing and the sweet smell and hay and everything else, but that doesn't change the fact that they put Mary in a barn to deliver her baby. Now let me tell you, she told my father all about the rehearsal, and when she was through she said, it's clear to me that deep down all those kids have some good instincts after all. My daddy said he couldn't exactly agree. According to you, he said, their chief instinct was to burn Herod alive. No, their chief instinct was to get Mary and the baby out of the barn. But even so, it was Herod they wanted to do away with, so they picked out the right villain. That must mean something. Maybe so, my daddy had said, looking up from his newspaper. Is that what finally happened to Herod? Just what did happen to him anyway? None of us knew. I had never thought much about Herod. He was just a name in the Bible, just Herod the king. But the Herdmans went and looked him up at the library. The very next day, Emma Jean had grabbed me at recess. How do you get a book at the library? Well, you have to get a card. Well, how do you get a card? Well, you have to sign your name. She looked at me for a minute with her eyes all squinched up. Do you have to sign your own name? I thought Emma Jean probably just wanted to get one of the dirty books out of the basement where they all kept them, but I knew nobody would never let her do that because there's a big old chain right across the basement entryway, and it rings and rattles every time somebody moves it, so it's a lost cause. Yes, you have to sign your own name, I told Emma Jean. They have to know who has the books. I didn't see what difference it made whether she signed the card with her own name or signed it as Queen Elizabeth. They're not going to let her go get a book out of the library. So, either way, I guess you couldn't stop them from using the library, though, because that's where they found out all about Herod. They went in that afternoon, all 6 of them, and told Miss Grabner that they wanted library cards. And usually whenever somebody tells our librarian, Miss Grabner, that they wanted a library card, she would get this big, huge smile on her face. Good. We want all our boys and girls to have library cards. She didn't say that to the Herdmans. She just asked them why they wanted library cards. We want to read about Jesus, Emma Jean said. Not Jesus, Ralph had said. We want to read about Herod. Later on, Miss Grabner told my mother that she had been a librarian for 38 years and loved every minute of it because every day brought something new and different. But now, Miss Grabner said, I might as well retire. Because when Emma Jean came in and she said that they wanted to read about Jesus, I knew there was everything I had to hear. That was it. There was nothing else new. And at the next rehearsal, Mother started again. She separated everybody into angels and shepherds and guests at the end, but she didn't get very far. The Herdmans wanted to rewrite the whole pageant and hang Herod for a finish. They couldn't stand it that he died in bed of old age. And that's where we stopped.